This is BBC News. I'm Julian Warwick. The headlines at 7 o'clock. A sea of red as hundreds of thousands of Liverpool fans come out onto the streets to welcome home the champions of Europe. It's the 6th time Liverpool have won Europe's top club competition. Their victory lap of the city is still continuing.
It's just unreal.
You've got to be here to feel it and experience it to know what it really means to us.
What he's achieved is absolutely brilliant.
Just unbelievable.
Liverpool have brought the European Cup back to Merseyside, and something like 750,000 people have turned out to see it.
Controversy as President Trump speaks out on Brexit, telling Britain it should be prepared to leave the EU without a deal. Missing on India's second highest mountain, a group of 8 climbers, 4 of them British. The terrifying moment, a cruise ship crashes into a dock and tourist boat in Venice. A shock defeat for Anthony Joshua, losing his 3 boxing world titles in New York to underdog Andy Ruiz Jr. Full details in Sports Day in half an hour's time. Hello, good evening and welcome to BBC News. Liverpool's footballers have been celebrating their Champions League victory with an open-top bus parade through the city. Hundreds of thousands of fans turned out to welcome the team home from Madrid, where they beat Spurs 2-0. It's the 6th time that Liverpool have won Europe's top club championship. Andy Swiss sent this report.
Talk about painting the town red. For Liverpool's players and fans, a day of unbridled celebration as the European champions brought the city to a glorious standstill. Stars and supporters united in euphoria. Manager Jurgen Klopp clearly enjoying the party as they paraded the trophy through the streets. Whatever it took, you just had to be there.
We're so proud. This is so different. Once you Liverpool, you love Liverpool. I don't know. Fabulous.
If we're doing this now, the future's looking very bright for us. Very bright, and it's looking amazing.
It's just waited years for this. Let's face it, we all wanted the Premier League, but this will do.
Just a few hours earlier, the players had landed back home with that extra hand luggage. The famous trophy's 6th visit to Liverpool continued from the pitch to the dressing room, a case of singing when you're winning. But might this actually just be the start of something very special?
So now we won something, and we will carry on. We want to win things 100%. This group, I said it, this is only the start for this group. So it's still a wonderful age group. They all have the best times in their career still ahead of them. So that's big. For me, I'm really happy.
And for Klopp and co, today was a chance to revel in their glory.
Well, if you wondered exactly what this means to Liverpool fans, just take a look at this. They're clinging to trees, to lampposts. Literally any vantage point will do, it seems, for the chance to cheer home their heroes.
And thousands upon thousands are still doing precisely that as the bus crawls its way through the throng. A sea of red and a wall of noise, a homecoming like no other. Liverpool's spectacular season ending in spectacular celebration. Andy Swiss, BBC News, Liverpool.
Let's take you live to Liverpool now, because that open-top bus is very close to its final destination at Liverpool waterfront, and that is the scene from above, where thousands of people have been gathering for many hours in anticipation of these scenes. You can see the various police officers on either side of that bus as it crawls through those streets where so many people have been wanting to come out and congratulate the team on its 6th Champions League victory. Stuart Flinders, our reporter, has been watching events in Liverpool throughout the afternoon. Stuart, bring us up to date in terms of where you are and what you can see.
Well, have you ever seen anything like this? We are on the waterfront just near Pier Head. You're looking towards the Albert Dock, the Beatles Museum and so on. And a lot of these people have been standing here waiting patiently since about 1 o'clock. Only now are we told that the bus is maybe about 5-10 minutes away. Some signs of it heading from the direction that you're looking now, from Pier Head, and it will come along the waterfront here, past all these fans. And just look how many there are. They reckon there could be 750,000, maybe more people here today. People trying to get a really good vantage point. There are people on top of traffic light posts, road signs, scaffolding, you name it. They've got the best vantage point possible. And just listen to the singing. The flags. People have come from all over Europe to be here, from Germany, from France. And this is a party that really didn't only start today, by the way. It started last night, the moment that second goal went in to clinch the tie, the final for Liverpool. That's when the party started. And all through Liverpool last night, there were people walking around, draped in Liverpool banners, cheering, smiling, big broad beams everywhere. And that really went on all night. There were people sleeping next to Lime Street Station this morning, waiting for the first train home. But you can bet that even if they had a couple of hours sleep, they're back here now.
And Stuart, this is a team that had a fantastic league season, but until last night would always have that fear in their mind that they might end the season empty-handed.
And wouldn't that have been cruel? A team that finishes with 97 points in the Premier League and fails to win it, to end up with nothing, that wouldn't have seemed right, would it? And particularly after last year when they were in the Champions League final and they blew it, basically. 2 goalkeeping errors that helped cost them that tie. And yet within 12 months they got a second crack at it. And good for them, they've done it. They've brought the trophy back here and they're showing the fans that trophy now. And I think there are few cities in the country that would really have a turnout like this. I mean, it is incredible, isn't it, that crowd? They've been so patient, they've been kicking balls in the air. We've had a Mo Salah lookalike coming down. And that cheer you can hear is because I think they can see the bus in the distance. We can't quite see it. There's a building just blocking our view, but I think the people on the far side of the road have had their first glimpse of the bus. So it's not far off now. It is probably just now approaching Pier Head, and you can imagine what's going to happen when that bus gets here. The crowd is just going to raise the roof. If there was a roof, they'd raise it.
A word, Stuart, about the manager, Jurgen Klopp, and not only the success that he has clearly been presiding over, but also the way that he and this city have got some sort of relationship going, which makes him so popular with the fans.
It's strange, isn't it? He's been here 3 years. Until last night he hadn't won a trophy with the club, and yet there is something about that relationship with the club, with the whole city. He has a mural on a wall near the ground. People really respect him. He's very calm. He doesn't seem to put a foot wrong, does he? And he's always very respectful of all his players and all his previous teams. He was asked the other day at the press conference before the final, it was put to him that this is the best set of players he's ever managed, and he said, no, all the players I've managed at all the clubs were very good. He obviously respects them, and that's obviously why he gets so much out of them. So good for them. They've actually won a trophy. They did so well this season, but it would have been cruel for them to get nothing, and good for Jurgen Klopp.
And a word about the next challenge, if you like, because, okay, they've won this, fantastic for them. They didn't quite win the league. Does he look to improve that squad in the next few months? I mean, what's the thinking on that at this stage, or is it too early to go down that road?
Well, I'm sure he will look to improve the squad, and there are already transfer rumours about players that may be coming in. But you have to say that the squad he's got, the first team he's got now, is quite young. There's lots of room for them to improve and to go on to greater things. And having won a trophy like this, and let's face it, there aren't any bigger trophies in club football in Europe, then you'd think that this would help them going into next season, when surely they'll want to win the Premier League. But of course, Manchester City will have something to say about that as well. I'm just looking to see if I can see the bus. I can't. People are straining to see if it's on its way. It can't be far off. We can see the police outriders just travelling before us, so that's a sure sign that the bus can't be far behind. This is pretty much where the bus will end up. It just finishes around the corner from here, so this is the climax of the whole journey, and what a moment this will be for the players as they see this crowd.
We have the advantage, Stuart, of showing different pictures from the ones that obviously you're looking down that street live in search of the bus. We can see something from behind which suggests that it's not a great deal of a distance away from you, and you mentioned the police officers. We can see them walking along with this sound vehicle with all sorts of giant speakers on it to help things along. So as you say, it won't be long before it reaches you. I know this parade began, I think it was at 4 o'clock this afternoon. My understanding was it was due to reach you by now, but it was never going to keep to time, was it?
No, it started at 4. It was supposed to be here by about 6, and what is it now, 10 past 7? I guess it's made a very, very slow progress through the city. And I guess that's only fair because people have been very patient. They've come out here, they've invested a lot of time and money in their club over this season, and they want to get a good look at the team and that trophy. And the speed at which the bus is travelling, I guess, will allow them to do that, because there's no big gathering at the end of this. There's no big speeches or set piece at the end of it. This is their chance to see it. Oh, fireworks are going up. Fireworks going up on the top of the light. Oh, look at that. If you just look, our camera's trying to give you a shot of that. On the top of the Liver building, there are flares and fireworks going off, which I guess is a sign that the bus must be just reaching Pierhead. There's the famous Liver bird on top there, all that smoke coming out. Part of the celebrations here in Liverpool.
Yes, we got the fireworks for sure. Stuart, I'm just going to come away from you for a moment because we're going to give a chance for some of those fans that you've been talking about to hear what they've been saying, and then we'll come back if the bus is with you. Many fans at the parade, as we were saying, still overwhelmed from last night's win, so we've been asking them how they've been feeling today.
How you feeling? A bit hungover, but yeah, I'm all right. Nothing wrong with that. It's got to be done, Annie. Got to be done.
What is it? I mean, it's a silly question, this. What does it mean to everybody?
It's just someone else asked me that before. It's just unreal.
You can't ask a question like that because you can't put it into words. You've got to be here to feel it and experience it to know what it really means to us. It's great. It's amazing.
Everyone in Liverpool should come out today because what is achieved is absolutely brilliant.
Nuts. It hasn't sunk in yet. I didn't think it was going to... After last year, I didn't think we were going to bounce back this quickly, but... And even when we play a bad game, we still win 2-0. It's incredible, man. Our team is something special right now.
Everything. It's my 18th birthday on Tuesday. So happy birthday. It means everything to me, honestly. I really appreciate it. We've pulled through it and you've got it, haven't we?
Well then.
Just unbelievable.
Some of the fans speaking to us a little bit earlier on, prior to these extraordinary scenes now by the Liverpool waterfront, as Stuart Flinders was saying a moment ago. Well, Liverpool City Council put the estimate of the numbers at 500,000. It might well be more than that. It's I don't quite know how they managed to count them, to be honest, so it may well be that figure goes a good deal higher in the coming hours. Stuart, can you see them from where you are yet, or is it still a little bit too far?
I can see some more flares and fireworks right as far as I can see, and I guess that's a sign that the bus is there, but more fireworks are just going off behind me a short time ago over the Albert Dock. Obviously people have planned this in some detail. A lot of smoke there now. I guess that must be the bus coming.
It's definitely still moving.
It is
definitely
incredible.
see it moving.
You can see it. Good. More fireworks going on. I mean, it is a remarkable achievement, isn't it? 6 European Cups, the most successful club in Europe in our country. In fact, Liverpool have won more European Cups than the rest of the Premier League teams put together, and that's saying something, isn't it? I see a cloud of smoke there in the distance now. I guess that must be the bus.
Yeah, I think the bus is quite close to you because we're showing the aerial shots, which put it not a great distance away from where I know you're staying. And you talked about the 6th European crown. I know Real Madrid are way ahead with 13, but as you say, Liverpool's record in that competition compared to any other teams in the Premier League is quite outstanding. That bus now passing the Liver building, which you might be able to see in one side of that shot. And that, of course, the famous building on Liverpool waterfront, which is where those first fireworks began to appear, right at the top of the tower. Stuart, I sense from a moment's exclamation that you can now see it.
We can now see the bus, and I think if our camera just turns around, they might just be able to see it. The edge of the building might be in the way, but I'm just seeing the bus appearing through a cloud of smoke. You're right, Real Madrid are top with 13 European Cup wins. That's impressive, isn't it? Milan 7. But then come Liverpool, and that's not bad. And the people who are selling the scarves and the banners here have been quick workers. They've added Madrid 2019 to those other years of Rome 1977 and 84, Wembley 1978, Paris 1981. So what a record. Yes, we can see the bus now. Here it comes. It is, as it says, shrouded in smoke. There are flares, there are fireworks, and you can see probably in front of where that smoke is, you can see arms being waved. Those people are on top of traffic lights, would you believe? And some of them have been perched precariously there for about 4 or 5 hours. Remarkable.
I was listening to some of the radio coverage on the way in, and references were made to people climbing onto the top of roofs, and not roofs where you actually had a flat roof, but a roof where you had something really quite difficult to sit on at the top, but still they would go there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a building not far from here. It's a building site, and some Liverpool fans seem to have got through there, worked their way along the scaffold, and quite a number of them are perched precariously just along from us on that scaffolding. I don't know what the safety situation is there, but I hope they're all right. But yeah, I mean, people have obviously decided this is a once-in-a-lifetime moment, and they want to be here. This is something you want to be able to tell your friends about, take a photograph of it, put it on your Facebook page. Everybody wants to be here, don't they?
I suppose a thought crosses my mind about how you prepare for this afternoon, because clearly nobody knew for sure that they were going to win last night, but somebody had obviously got the bus ready, somebody had planned the route. I mean, everything was in pretty good order. It was just a question of whether the team won or not.
Yeah, I guess they must have been on standby. The plan was in place, and they have done this before. I know we talk about it being a long wait for Liverpool to win this trophy, but it was only 2005 when they last won it. I remember I was here when the homecoming parade happened then. It was midweek. There were a lot of people here, but I wonder whether it's made a difference the fact that today is a weekend, it's dry, it's sunny. You know, where else would you rather be if you're in Liverpool? This is the event, isn't it? And not just Liverpool. As I came in, I could see people driving in from outside the city. And as I said earlier, people have flown in here. I spoke to a German guy earlier who flew in yesterday morning. Him and his friends had tried to get tickets for the final in Madrid. They're big Liverpool fans, even though they live in Germany. They hadn't managed to get to Madrid, so they thought, where else should you be? They flew into Liverpool, watched the match last night in a pub, stayed over, and now they're going to get to see the trophy itself as it comes along here. In fact, I can just see that guy. I spoke to him about 12 o'clock, and he's been standing in the road waiting for that bus ever since. So I think he'll be relieved that it's arrived more than anybody.
Well, I'm now looking at the shot that I think you're looking at. All right, okay, because I thought the shot that we're now showing you what you can see, because it's definitely coming into shot, I think.
Yeah, I mean, now I'm starting to get a clearer view of it. Can't quite make out the personnel from here, but we can see it now, just coming past Pier Head, and you'll be able to see just behind it that road sign with some people very precariously seated on it, but making sure they get a good view, and the big cheer you can hear now as people see it as it comes by. More fireworks. I mean, what must it be like to be on that bus and to see this sort of reception? I mean, really, you know, you play in front of a crowd week in, week out, and you know that the fans care a lot about you. But when you see this must bring it home to you that this is a special club.
We'll just take a different shot, I think, from above, just to allow that bus to edge a little closer to you, Stuart, because what that shot offers us, and you were just describing the fireworks, both in terms of the sound and the smoke, from above you can see that smoke gently clearing, the bus still making their way through that street, and actually looking to the left, all those people who are still running to join those crowds on one side of the street to make sure they get a better view. I mean, I saw a figure of crowds 10 to 20 deep being mentioned when it was further outside the city centre, but well, it's clearly far more than 10 or 20 deep in these scenes. It's well, hundreds, thousands of people with their flags, albeit through some quite hazy vision now because of the smoke. Hopefully the players can still see the crowds and vice versa, because it's a bit tricky for us now. I don't know how it is for you.
Well, it's just a fog of smoke. I can see some fans running along, as you say, that have obviously seen it further back and they thought, let's go and get another look further up. I mean, the crowd is particularly dense here. I'm not sure how it's been elsewhere, but the local authority put out a notice about 2 hours ago saying that the Strand, which is the name of this street, is full. So they were discouraging any more people from coming down here. The bus is almost alongside us now. It is a little dense, that smoke. I can't quite make out any of the players from here. I can just see them all bouncing along. They are really enjoying this. They're waving their flags in the air. They are joining in the songs that the fans are singing. And I think that at the front of the bus, is that Andy Robertson, the fullback, banging his hand on the front of the bus? He said after the match, I know from a neutral's point of view, it wasn't the best of finals and probably won't be remembered, but he said for everyone involved with Liverpool, it'll be remembered for a long time, and he's dead right there, isn't he?
I'm trying to help pick out some of those faces that I can see, Stuart, but for exactly the same reason as you, I am struggling. I can see lots of scarves rotating, but it's hard to be more specific than that. I mean, I'm also struck by the number of people on top of that bus. That's more people than were in the Liverpool squad.
I think so. I'm not sure, but they're all wearing red shirts. I can't...
There's Mo Salah. I can see Mo Salah and I can see the cup.
Mo Salah?
Yeah, that helps.
Well, I mean, I think Mo Salah must be particularly pleased, because if you remember last year, he limped out of the final, and the whole match was a day to remember for Liverpool. But this year, of course, he's the man who started the ball rolling for Liverpool within 2 minutes with that dramatic penalty kick after the handball very early in the game. That settled Liverpool's nerves. Yes, that's Mo Salah at the back, I think, near the trophy, isn't he? He's got his hand on the trophy, yeah. And there it is, they're lifting the trophy in the air so that the fans can see it. More fireworks, raising it again, scarves being thrown into the air, and the crowd saluting the Liverpool team.
They are wonderful scenes. As you say, Stuart, there's no end destination for this necessarily, is there? There's not some sort of final moment. It just carries on, presumably, until the crowd have had enough, which could be around at Thursday at this reckoning.
I think so, and at the end of it, I imagine the adrenaline coursing through the players. I mean, it must be like playing a match, this. I mean, they must run an absolute high. They'll probably, after the match and after today, they'll probably sleep for a week, won't they, after it? I mean, and great for some of those players like Virgil van Dijk. I mean, he signed for Liverpool, a record price for a defender, and he'll be glad to get his first trophy with the club. And of course, the first trophy too for Jurgen Klopp, to whom this club means so much.
We're taking the aerial shots now, Stuart, so we can see. I was going to say you're a little distance away, I'm guessing now. Because the buses have moved past you, but the scenes from above are still pretty spectacular, with a combination of the smoke and the fireworks and the crowds, and now they're so close to the waterfront, because obviously you can see the water there at the top of the picture, but still people chasing along there to try and get a view. before this bus comes to a halt, although, as I say, we're not entirely clear as to what's going to happen at the end of this process. It does strike me that if you were planning to have a quiet stroll along the Liverpool waterfront this evening, you might have picked the wrong evening. It's quite extraordinary.
There is actually another event going on here today, the River Festival, and I'm sure they didn't quite bargain for this, because anybody trying to get down to the river for that wonder what's going on if they're not football fans. They're now just passing the Albert Dock, which some of you may recognise, because that's where the Beatles Museum is. It's quite a famous part of the waterfront, and I think just beyond there they're going to take a left turn, and I guess they must end up in some fairly quiet streets, or else they'll never be able to get the players off and back to their own homes.
They'll be lucky to find a quiet street. One last thought crosses my mind, Stuart. Where are the Everton fans?
Say that again.
I said one last thought crosses my mind. Oh, where are the Everton fans?
If they've any sense, they probably stayed in bed today. I mean, no, seriously, I think you know, Everton fans are fairly good-natured towards. It's a good relationship between the two clubs, and I'm sure that many of them will wish Liverpool well and will hope that their club will continue its progress, and they'll be in the same boat in a few years to come. There's no real animosity between the two clubs, but you certainly won't see many people in a blue shirt in Liverpool today.
Sure. Stuart, great to work with you over the last 15-20 minutes, and some fantastic scenes in Liverpool. Stuart Flinders there was your man on the spot, and what, hundreds of thousands, possibly 500,000, possibly many more in Liverpool city centre. Now let's talk about some other matters. President Trump arrives in the UK tomorrow for his state visit, but the build-up to that visit has been dominated by controversial comments from him on Brexit and the Conservative leadership contest. The Foreign Secretary, Jeremy Hunt, said Donald Trump